Good morning. I'm Mina Hata, and I'm a member of the Board of Directors. Welcome to White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church. We are a community of youth, adults, and children of many diverse theologies, held together by covenant, not creed. Together, we share the values of courage, reverence, and compassion. Welcome especially to our visitors. We are glad you are here. May you know deep welcome and belonging in this place. If you are interested in learning more about the church community, please consider attending a brief 12-minute intro and tour immediately after the service. Thank you, Meredith. Look for the person holding the sign who will meet you over by the fabric wall. To share a request for today's meditation, please place it in the chat box before the opening hymn or add it to our meditation bowl. Please gain the consent before you use someone's full name. The meditation bowl is in the Soulwork Center, along with some activities to help people of all ages engage with today's service. Much gratitude to all who volunteered with the Land Stewardship Committee for our cleanup day yesterday. Thank you for caring for our grounds. We appreciate it. Please join us for our Earth Day concert with Peter Mayer tomorrow. Tickets are still available. Seating is general admission, and doors will open at 6:30 p.m. and the concert will begin at 7. This Wednesday, you are invited to join us for supper at 5:30 p.m. Afterwards, we'll be hosting choir rehearsal, an open mic, poetry circle, and the grief group. All are welcome. Please see Reverend Jack or Amy with questions. Our pledge drive officially ended 2 weeks ago, but we are still accepting pledges. Please let the board know what you plan to give towards our next fiscal year so that we can plan accordingly. Our team of pledge callers have been making calls. We hope to hear from all of you by tomorrow, April 22nd, at the latest, so we can finalize next year's budget. Thanks in advance for your help with us. Page 2? You're going to get more announcements. All are invited to sign up to lead small groups for all ages this summer and fall. Serving as a small group facilitator will be deeply rewarding ways to support this community, and you'll deepen your own understanding of our faith and our community along the way. You do not need to be a theologian or an expert at UU history. All you need to do is to be present and willing to embark on a spiritual journey alongside other White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church community members. We are especially seeking volunteers to work with our children and youth. Look for the sign-up link in the weekly e-news to see Amy if interested. All are invited to join us for our Notice, Cherish, Protect retreat, co-led by Reverend Jessica and the Earth Ministry team on May 4th. This retreat will focus on spiritual practices around connecting to ourselves and our earth home, including a sound bath. It will be a wonderful, soul-nurturing time. Please sign up on the link in the e-news or email Reverend Jessica. Today, after the second service, is the first of our imagination sessions. Today at 12:30 and Thursday at 7:30 on Zoom will be an opportunity to have a discussion with board members and staff about how things are going as we near the end of the church year together. All are welcome. So ends our announcements. Whoopee! Welcome to our church. Together, we grow our souls and serve the world in love.
Thank you, choir. I'm Reverend Jessica, and my pronouns are she, her. Let's be here now and take a breath together. Come in. Come into this place which we make holy by our presence. Come in with all your vulnerabilities and strengths, fears and anxieties, loves and hopes. For here you need not hide nor pretend, nor be anything other than who you are and who you are called to be. Come into this place where we can touch and be touched, heal and be healed, forgive and be forgiven. Come into this place where the ordinary is sanctified, the human is celebrated, the compassionate is expected. Come into this place. Together we make it a holy place.
Good morning. Happy Earth Day. My name is Joanna Eccles, and my pronouns are she, her. And what an honor to do the chalice lighting on Earth Day. I first visited WBUUC in March of 2003. I was by myself, checking things out on a trusted friend's suggestion, but with great skepticism. One of the readings that day was Emily Dickinson's Hope is the Thing with Feathers, then and now the only poem I know by heart. I left that day thinking, maybe this could be a fit. We came back together and we kept coming, and on Earth Day, the very next month, I signed the membership book. After that, I eased slowly into calling WBUUC church by referring to it as my nature church. That aspect of this congregation is really what hooked me. Not just the perfectly timed poem, but the commitment to sustainability, the dedication to act on really difficult and complex issues like climate change and justice, the teams of volunteers, they already got a shout out, that gather together to work on the grounds, and all of you who come to share your nature observations at the phenology board, which is the calendar that we keep across from the name tags. The willingness to hang strings the entire length of the alcove to protect birds from our windows. Yes, that's what those are for. These are just some of the many examples of how we align with the seventh principle, respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are a part. So it's natural, especially on Earth Day, with all the issues that we face, to think that we aren't doing enough, or that we're not doing it right, or even that we're working on the wrong things altogether. There's a lot coming at us, a new issue or problem or calamity, it seems like every day. And it can be hard to know where to put your energy. So I light the chalice on Earth Day, for Earth Day, and for finding inspiration in all the different ways we can each act to connect with, to care for, and to protect the natural world. So just start where you are and allow yourself the room and grace to grow as you go and learn more.
Will you rise in body or spirit and join me in the opening words? Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Please join us in our opening hymn, number 207, in the gray hymnal, Earth Was Given as a Garden.
Tree of Morning. My name is Amy, and my pronouns are she, her. So it is often our work here at church to hold space for naming transitions and rites of passage. And so this morning, we are very excited to have the job of welcoming a new staff member. Matt Thielen is joining our... Matt Thielen will be joining us as our new religious education assistant. So Matt's work will include working with children on Sunday mornings and Wednesday evenings, and he will also be helping to recruit and support facilitators that work with children and youth, so you all will get to work with him. Matt brings with him years of experience as a paraprofessional and in community education and as a coach. He also brings passion for Unitarian Universalism and for the power of this church community. I'm looking forward to working together on programming that will continue to help hold the children and families of WBUUC.
And so, congregation, we have a role to play in welcoming and supporting staff. We are all on a lifelong journey, growing and serving together, and we need each other in this work. So, would you mind rising in body or spirit? So, congregation, will you warmly welcome Matt as he begins his work at WBUUC and offer your support, trust, and thanks? Yes. Will you actively support our ministry for children and youth with hands and hearts, and remember that you too are leaders in this ministry?
Matt, this role sometimes requires patience, but also love and presence. Will you, in your role as religious education assistant, help us hold sacred space for our children, youth, and those who journey with them as they grow their souls and serve the world together? Will you bring compassion and understanding and reminders that all of us have a role to play in our ministry for children and families? Matt, as you start your role, I thought you might need a couple of things. And so I have for you here a small chalice.
Wait, I have to.
Yeah. I have for you a small chalice, a symbol of our faith, and a reminder to hold sacred space for others and for your own practice.
We will also gift you an acorn, and this is the cutest little acorn with like a little knit part on it. It's an adorable acorn. A symbol of ministry at its beginning. We hope that you will find space to flourish here at WBUUC.
Matt, may the blessings of this congregation anchor and guide your work. May you find your work challenging and fulfilling, and may you find space to grow in your own practice and understanding of our shared faith.
Let us all say, welcome. I invite us into a spirit of meditation. So if you have something in your hands, I invite you to set it down. If you are one of our 35 households online, I invite you to center yourself in whatever you're doing. Maybe stop if you're preparing breakfast or something like that, to just take a moment and just be present. Present to where your heart is this morning. Present to where your body is this morning. This morning, we lift up prayers for continuing care for member Phyllis Ballard as she continues in hospice care. We also lift into prayer this morning Jenna Borgmeyer as she undergoes some health procedures this week, and send her prayers of recovery and healing energy. And now is the time in the service where you can name the prayers on your heart. May these names uttered from our lips be surrounded in care and love. Our prayer this morning is an Earth Day prayer in the spirit of Indigenous traditions by Reverend Vern Barnett. Infinite Spirit, sometimes called grandparent, Father Sky, Earth Mother, Creator, we gather to praise your creation, to honor the swimmers and crawlers, the four-leggeds and the winged ones. We give thanks for the beauty and glory of creation and open our hearts to new ways to understand our place in the universe, not the center or focus, but a humble and balanced place where every move we make becomes a prayer, where every word we say makes harmony with the vast, vibrating cosmos, and where we know we are singing the song of life. We pray to know more deeply that we are in the garden where every plant and animal and speck of dust is a living prayer. Without our siblings of the plant and animal and mineral kingdoms, the human family would end, so we want to bless them as they bless us. We pray this morning for humility, not to humble ourselves before presidents or priests, but before ants and trees. For if we cannot be in true relation to the ant, we shall be outcasts of the garden. Let us cast the pollution from our eyes so we can see the glory and live with thanksgiving. Great Spirit, let us remember it is not how we talk, but how we move in the world. When we say we love animals, let us protect them. When we say that we love the plant people, let us honor them by living lightly on the earth. When we say we love the minerals, let us use them only in necessity and remember their rightful places. Oil belongs in the ground, not in the air through our wasteful machines. Wondrous trees, breathing life into the atmosphere, your gifts of fire and shelter, fruit and sailing are precious to us, and in many ways you offer us leaves of knowledge. May the vision of mutual interrelatedness, cosmic interdependence, the seamless process of generations not end in cough-filled skies blotting the sun, but rather may clear air, healthy forests, wholesome water, expansive prairie, and pungent earth nourish paths for all creatures through mountain and valley and the salt sea, and through a protective atmosphere as we rejoice in the inhabitants. Hear and empower our mantra, reduce, reuse, recycle. With thanks for the surprise and mystery of it all, we pray in the name of the divine and in all our relations. Amen, and blessed be. Please join in singing hymn number 21 for the beauty of the earth, and you may remain seated. It's in your gray hymnal.
Good morning on this Earth Day Sunday. My name is Dana Jackson, and my pronouns are she, her. In May 1955, 29 years ago, I became a member of this church. And it has been a very important part of my life. I found friends and community in a spiritual, ethical, and ecological context that mostly mirrored my values, which were profoundly influenced by the first National Earth Day in 1970. How many of you remember the first Earth Day, 1970? That day was pivotal for me. My friends, other young mothers who met through the League of Women Voters, and I organized a teach-in for women at the YWCA in Salina, Kansas, where we lived. I learned so much preparing for that teach-in and through the actions that we took later as the Salina Citizens for a Better Environment, that the goals of my life after that were changed. I became an environmental activist, and because Christian churches at that time were indifferent or some even hostile to the environmental movement, I totally withdrew my participation in religion until I found Unitarian Universalism. So when Reverend Victoria called a special afternoon meeting in 2007 to discuss what our congregation could do about climate change, I was there with about 40 others. We founded the White Bear UU Global Climate Crisis Committee with Dick Ottman and Ann Reich as co-chairs. Educating our church members and the broader community about climate change was our first goal. So every year, the committee sponsored 5 to 6 public programs that explained climate change and its impacts and provided information on reducing carbon emissions. After services, we sometimes supplied materials for members to write letters about climate-relevant legislation to state and national elected officials. By 2019, the committee had dwindled to 3 members: the chair, Kirk Cobb, Nancy Henricks, excuse me, I have a bad cold today. We decided to change our focus from education to action and gave the committee a new name, the Global Climate Action Committee. Today, on the 16th Earth Day Sunday observed at White Bear UU Church, we celebrate the first Climate Action Project, a solar addition to the collectors installed on the church roof in 2007. The congregation is paying for the solar collectors from carbon offset contributions our members make based on carbon dioxide emissions from their vacation travel. This funding mechanism is unique, maybe the first ever used in a church. In the first 2 weeks of April, the Solar Edge Monitor shows that the collectors produced 1,950 kilowatt hours of electricity, offset 3,139 pounds of carbon emissions, and saved the church $273 in electricity costs. Please visit the Climate Action table after the service, right by the door out here. Join the committee. Bring new ideas and fresh passion to protect our children's future on this warming planet. Help choose the next climate action project. Should it be a climate justice project? Perhaps helping a low-income congregation decrease its operating costs while lowering carbon emissions. And if the Carbon Offset Fund is new to you, learn how to offset carbon emissions from your summer vacation and help pay for the new solar addition. Become a climate activist on this 54th National Earth Day.
Today, in honor of Earth Day, you are having a special collection whereby the entire amount collected goes to the organization of our choice. Today, the collection is going to support the Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light, Black, Indigenous, People of Color, Reparations Working Group. Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light works to address the climate crisis across the state by working with faith and spiritual communities. They hold regular events and trainings to teach organizing skills and help grow the social movement for climate and environmental justice. Today's offering will support Minnesota Interfaith Power and Light's work to bring people together to understand and discuss the potential ways to repair the harms of colonization through concrete actions in our own lives. Make sure to visit the Interfaith Power and Light table in the social hall. As always, you can donate in 4 ways. Contribute in today's collection basket on the WBUUC website, send a check to WBUUC, or leave a check in the lockbox outside the office, or use the text to give option found in your order of service or in the chat box. Whichever way you give, please indicate the keyword Earth. Thank you for your generosity. The offering will now be gratefully collected.
Good morning. My name is Dana Boyle, and you can use the pronouns she and her when referring to me. Notice, cherish, protect. This is the motto that we created when WBUUC's Earth Ministry was launched in 2018. Our goal has been to keep building on the environmental work that was done to attain Green Sanctuary certification and to serve as advocates for the moral imperative called for in the 7th UU principle, which Joanna mentioned is respect for the interdependent web of all existence, of which we are a part. Collectively, the Earth Ministry has maintained the Phenology Board. We've held our congregation to more environmentally sustainable practices. We've organized poetry readings and nature walks. And just as the pandemic took hold, we introduced our 7th Principle art exhibit, which was creatively shifted to a virtual format, and you can still find it on the church website. Notice and cherish from our motto, help us stay connected to what we love. It is the uplifting aspect of our group. But the protect part of our motto requires action. This is the lifting up part as we advocate for meaningful policy changes and at the same time inform and inspire others at the community level to help shift our current culture. I'd like to share how engaging with our earth and climate-centered work here has tangibly helped me keep moving forward in environmental conservation. Working with the Land Stewardship Committee several years ago gave me hands-on experience handling native plants and understanding not only their value, but what growing conditions best suited them. That set my appetite to do something along the lines of our spirit prairie on the edges of my own front yard. Landscape architect and designer and fellow choir member, Diane Hilscher, was the chief designer of that space, of the spirit prairie. And so about 6 years ago, she and I did a bartering arrangement where she came to my house and gave me ideas for starting a pollinator garden in exchange for some basic Italian lessons. Fast forward a year or two, and I got the name from Lori Kigner, who got the name from MJ Levine, both members of our church, of another landscaper with whom I contracted to transition the entire front yard from grass to native sedges. I live in a very suburban area, so this was unique. The space now requires no chemicals, no mowing, and much less water than turf would require. And this habitat has matured and attracted tons of native pollinators. People routinely stop by to tell me that it's their favorite yard to walk by. And in essence, it's become a demonstration plot. And at least a few dozen neighbors and friends have since begun their own rewilding projects. In the meantime, I've been inspired by other WBUUC members, including Dana Jackson and Dick Ottman, and when I think of it too, Louise Pardee and Joanna Vale and others, to push myself to become more politically active. And it's amazing the influence that our more experienced friends have on the rest of us. Those advocacy efforts now include regular communications with local government representatives and even visits to meet with US senators and members of Congress in Washington, DC, where I've helped lead a Minnesota contingent for the Garden Club of America. These actions I might never have taken if it weren't for UU values and encouragement from the people I've come to know and respect at our church. We become accountability partners along with everything else, and I will say friends. A deep devotion to the natural world has always been an important focus for this congregation. You can see how we educate and inspire each other to not only notice and cherish nature, but to act in protecting it for our benefit, for the benefit of our plant and animal relatives, and for our other humans in our community and around the world. And so if you are at all interested in building on your own passion and fighting what can at times feel like hopelessness, I recommend that you consider participating in one of our committees, the Global Climate Action Committee, Land Stewardship, and Earth Ministry. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Jerry Condon, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the Land Stewardship Committee. And I have to confess that I'm a tree hugger, And I'm not just saying that because it's Earth Day, you know, like everyone's an Irishman on St. Paddy's Day. But no, I've always loved the woods, the rocks, the water, and the sky. So what could be more worthy of celebration than Earth Day? It was my affinity for the natural world that led me to Unitarian Universalism. My path is familiar. I was raised Catholic, and I began to doubt. The idea that the spiritual and natural worlds are separate realms was the big rub for me. I read Emerson, Thoreau, and Whitman and began to understand that divinity permeates the natural world. You don't need to look elsewhere. And it was some years before I discovered that there was actually an American religious tradition that recognizes and champions that idea. And eventually I found my way here to this church and have been here for the past quarter century. It is the seventh principle that inspires me the most about the UU tradition. It's my favorite principle. It points to the idea that divinity exists in the rocks, the plants, the animals, and our fellow human beings, as well as within ourselves. Once I arrived here, I found that there are many ways to get involved, and I shopped around. I found the Land Stewardship Committee. It suited me, and I've been involved for many years. I find that the most natural way to make friends is working side by side with someone doing things you both love to do, and that's how I've made many friends here, right here at this church, doing this work. So what does our committee do? Well, WBUUC sits on 4 acres of land. This is our little piece of God's green earth, and we do what can be done to maintain its natural environment in a harmonious way. It's a humble task. What kind of work do we do? Well, a lot of it is maintenance. We maintain the native landscapes and the gardens. We work to limit the spread of invasive species, and we work to deal with the effects of diseases on trees in the woodlands. We also do project work, which is intended to make improvements and not just maintenance. And I think one of the more lasting impacts of the Land Stewardship Committee was the new parking lot, and the parking lot that you see out here right now, which was installed in 2008 in conjunction with our new sanctuary here. So it was stalwarts on the Land Stewardship Committee, and I was not one of them, that were involved in the layout of the new parking lot, and were very insistent that it be done in an environmentally thoughtful and aesthetically pleasing way. As a result, you see berms along Hallam and Maple Streets here, and as well as a half a dozen green islands in the parking lot, some of which are preserving stands of old oak trees. Since 2007, Land Stewardship has incrementally, year by year, planted native plants, shrubs, and trees on the berms and islands around the parking lot. In addition, we've added gardens around the building, shade gardens on the north side and on the creek side here by the alcove, as well as colorful perennials on the south side in the courtyard. On the west side, as was mentioned by Dana, we have one of our more recent projects is the Spirit Prairie here, which is a garden that contains a wide variety of prairie grasses and flowers. And our current project is we're calling woodland restoration. And that is an effort to rejuvenate the woodland by replacing dying and diseased trees. This effort can be seen both outside the west window here and this nearest island. There's new trees planted there. Also immediately outside the east window here in the woodland, as well as in the entryway. And I found there's to be a very interesting selection of young native trees, some of them that I was not really familiar with. So we on the Land Stewardship Committee, of course, strongly encourage involvement by members of the church community. There are 2 levels of involvement. We encourage anyone who wants to be on the committee to join. That's a little higher level of involvement. Meetings, planning, coordination, so on. And we also have the need for workday volunteers, for those of you who just want to get your hands in the dirt or have a more complicated schedule, perhaps. We sponsor 12 workdays a year, spring through fall. All you need to do is get on our mailing list and then show up. You don't need to plan ahead. You can do it on the spur of the moment. Yesterday, as was mentioned, was our first workday, our spring workday, which was a little bit early this year. There were a few snowflakes. We had a great turnout. We got a lot done. And there already was a kind of a shout out to the committee. But I also wanted to give a shout out to the men's group, which provided lunch yesterday to a very hungry group of workers. So I want to encourage you to stop by the land stewardship table, which is out in the atrium between services, for more information on our work, including we have some drawings of the Spirit Prairie and the layout there, and our work on the Woodland Restoration Project, as well as volunteer opportunities. We have a list of the specific dates that we have work days through the summer and into the fall. So whether you want to learn more about gardening and native landscapes, or you just want to work outside on warm, sunny days with wonderful people, this could be the involvement you're looking for. Thank you.
Two perspectives on parking lots. Thank you, choir. So on this Earth Day, just to give you a little history about me, I used to think I was green, like the standard green. I recycled, I was vegetarian, and I hugged a tree every once in a while. Until I took a sustainability course when I was living in Southern California at the age of 30. This was a 6-week course focused on small daily things that can make a difference. After that class, my green level went up a notch. I became the person that had the bucket in the shower, that always had a reusable water bottle with me, and this was before everyone did. This was many years ago. And I would look at where the produce was from and wouldn't buy it if it was too far. You get the picture. I then enlisted my friends in my green campaign. And with the gaining of knowledge, I felt empowered and responsible to do something. So like a good UU, I co-chaired the Green Committee at my church, and we started the process of becoming a green sanctuary. And like Dana talked about, I know that this congregation has a long history of commitment to becoming a green sanctuary and projects to reduce our carbon footprint that we all heard about today. So today you're invited to reflect on what this Earth Day calls you to. And showing up for our planet can mean making small moves to make a difference. So you have this lovely insert in with your order of service. You have the wrap, which is our version of our newsletter. That's coming out monthly. Then you have this insert, which has a make your own bookmark, which has the Land Stewardship Committee work days, and also from Earth Ministry, some small ways that you can make a difference, and some other information on it as well. And you are invited today to make small moves to make a difference, as simple as picking up litter, planting native plants, or eating less meat. The Kabbalah, which is an ancient Jewish mystical text, tells the story of the creation of the universe. This is my favorite creation story. The story goes that when the universe was being created, God, or the infinite divine light, put themselves into 10 vessels and then sent these vessels out to create the universe. And if they had all arrived intact, the world would have been perfect. The universe would have been perfect. But the vessels were too fragile, the divine light within too powerful to stay within, and the vessels cracked as they were moving, and that divine light went into everything in the universe. And so everything has a piece of this light. And according to the concept of tikkun olam, healing the world, our task is to seek to uncover this light in everything we see in order to repair the world. So, a piece of the divine is in everything. It's in the people sitting next to you in the pews. Take a look at those people sitting next to you in the pews. There's a piece of the divine light within them. It's in the pews themselves. There's a piece of the divine light within them. It's in the floor beneath your feet, in the tightly packed earth beneath that floor, all the way down to the center of the earth. And as people of faith, we are called to care for each other and the planet. We are called to tikkun olam, and wherever possible, repair, repair, repair. And we keep doing this because it matters, because this is what we're called to do. For our beautiful earth forever turning, we say yes to small things which make a difference. And not because we get great big accolades, but because they make a difference. Because just picking up trash can make an impact. how many of you pick up trash as you go about your days? And has this ever happened to you? It hasn't happened to me either. I wouldn't hate it if it would. It's human to want some credit, some acknowledgement of the work that we do, maybe even an accolade or two. But showing up for the planet and for each other is an exercise in humility, because often this work is done in those quiet moments when it's just you and your decisions. What choices you make, whether or not you walk by the litter, whether or not you call your representatives. Tikkun Olam, repairing the earth, is about acts of kindness and love towards others, towards the planet. This air that we breathe into our lungs, let's breathe some of that air intentionally. Inhaling deeply with each breath, it has a spark of the divine in it. The water that flows out of our taps, giving us life, also has that spark. With each blade of grass that struggles to push through the earth after sleeping all winter, it also carries a spark. We can see sparks of the divine just looking out our windows. It's easy to see when daffodils and grape hyacinth are blooming, which they are in my front yard right now. When life waits just below the surface, waiting to spring out like a flash mob celebrating spring. Moving in our lives with right intention is not chastising ourselves when we miss a chance to practice repairing the planet. It's waking up each day knowing we have another chance to do something. Until we take our last breath, we always have more chances to put our faith into action, to look for the divine, to help heal the world, because we have a moral responsibility to, whether or not there will be a flash mob. We do this because our faith calls us to show up. Each day can be Earth Day. Each day is a chance to look for the divine in each other, to repair the wounds around us. Let us help be part of healing the world today, tomorrow, and all our days on this planet we call home. Amen. Please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, number 163 in the gray hymnal, For the Earth Forever Turning. Home to our blue-green hills of earth. On this Earth Day, may you know that whatever you do, however small, however big, makes a difference. May you know that you have a spark of the divine in you, and may you see it in others and in everywhere you go. May that permeate your being this week until we meet again next week. Go in peace, dear ones. Turn and greet your neighbor and invite them to social hour.